We're doing stuff a little different today. My kid just went down. It's not often that I can tell you that I've been affected emotionally by something. I was sitting, minding my own business in my living room, watching my little boy crawl around. My wife just left. My daughter just left. She's off to her grandparents. My wife's off to work. It's just me and my baby boy. We're sitting. He's got about an hour left before he's got to go take his first nap, and I'm there. I figured, let's finish a movie I started a couple days ago. A movie called Spirited Away. I don't know if you're familiar with Spirited Away, but it's the story of a little girl who enters this mysterious area. Her parents turn into pigs, and then she is swept off into some sort of slave labor type of situation. I thought at first, Miyazaki, you're doing something a little too aggressive here. This is a little too crazy. Maybe we take it a little bit back, tone down for a second. But I humored it. I'm like, let's keep watching. Now, Spirited Away is something I've seen before when I was a kid, but broken up. I should have never watched it as a kid because I'll tell you, some of the themes of this movie were pretty intense. Continue to watch it, the first half of it, and I thought this is just an acid trip of a movie. And very much so, a lot of it felt that way. A man with multiple limbs, working a steam room with little dust sprites, shoveling coal into a machine. It was cute. It was endearing at times. But then the second half of the movie takes a turn that I was not expecting, and I was not emotionally prepared for, and it has changed me as a human. This isn't a review of Spirited Away, but I figured, I might as well get on here and talk about it for a moment. I do not recommend you watch this movie with your kids nearby, especially if you're a father, for a couple of reasons. One, I have a daughter, and the thought of my daughter being enslaved by a witch in a bathhouse isn't really necessarily my favorite idea. Now, it is a much more PG version of that. Bathhouses are notorious for nefarious things, but it's not one of those kind of things. You see, the spirits come there to relax. And there are a few spirits that show up that are just kind of odd. There is the one, the token spirit, No Face. The guy with no face. Probably have seen him. He's on the cover of the darn movie. And he turns out to be an indulgent, gluttonous spirit that once inside of this bathhouse tries to indulge in as many of the things it has to offer, from the comforts of a bath to the food that is offered. And he offers gold, which is what they want, to get all these things. And he ends up destroying it because of overindulgence, overconsumption, and basically because he had everything at his fingertips, he turned into a fat sluggard that couldn't do anything and function properly. I was not ready to see that. You see, I've been talking about at length about this whole at your fingertips type of lifestyle, and I didn't need to be slapped in the face by someone called No Face this early in the morning. I get it, Miyazaki. Overconsumption's a problem. I understand that maybe having too much at your fingertips is something that's not a good idea, but I didn't need you to hit me right between the two eyes above this nose of mine with this message this gosh darn early in the morning. Not to mention, this movie is older. Didn't come out yesterday. Came out, like 20 years ago? I don't know exactly. I didn't do the research. That's not all. You see, the main character, this little girl who gets renamed, and she ends up forgetting her name, and I'm not going to give you all the details, befriends this other child there. At least what you think is a child. Can also turn into a dragon. Hello, Nintendo, I see what you did. You took the very, very art style of Miyazaki and said, I want everything from Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, even to this crazy Princess Mononoke movie that don't get me started on that one. Maybe I should. And you said, this is what Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom's all about. At any rate, this dragon boy ends up saving her and protecting her throughout the whole movie. Highly recommend watching this movie, and I'm going to do my best not to give you spoilers, but I'll tell you what, he didn't know his name. He had forgotten it. And there was a moment that I was holding my boy, and the two had this revelation, and I wept, and my kid looked at me like, what the heck is going on? I tell you, I was slapped across this bearded face by Miyazaki this morning because of Spirited Away. And yes, this video is a little bit different than most, and I'm going to continue on to say that there are other things that happen in this movie. There's a grand witch that is enslaving the main character, and what she ends up wanting is more gold, right? She ends up having a child, and there is a line that is said in the movie that hit me so hard it caused me to gasp. You know what that line was? The very thing you cherish isn't what you think it is. And she grabs the gold when her baby is standing next to her. And she looks at it, and she inspects the gold when her child is standing next to her. What do I cherish? What do you cherish? Is this a message that I needed? I know I've complained a lot about Spirited Away, and to be honest, I am very happy I watched it because at a time where there's a lot of question and a lot of things going on, I watched this child movie, which again, I don't recommend you show your 3-year-olds. I did not show my 3-year-old because I'm like, maybe I want to show her Spirited Away because Totoro, she loves it, and Kiki's Delivery Service, she loves it. Oh, no, ladies and gentlemen, do not do Spirited Away after Totoro. Totoro is somewhat warm. Sure, he's kind of a crazy big cat that screams and yells, but saves them. The daughter gets lost and you think she's dead in a pond, but, spoiler alert, she's not dead in a pond. That's like the worst it gets. This one is like kidnapping and then, chasing children around with witches. Not for children, but every single dad out there needs to sit their butt down, whether they purchase it on Amazon Prime or they go ahead and watch it on, what is it? I watched it on Max, I think, because the copy of it I want didn't come in the mail yet. Yes, I watched it on a streaming service. I know, the guy who's anti-streaming service watched it on a streaming service. Well, that's the only place I could watch it right now. So that's what I did. This is a movie that's purchased. The Steelbook is coming in. You need to watch it. Everyone needs to go watch it. I think it's a sobering reality and a very, very poignant message that a lot of us may need to hear, which is there are a lot of things that exist in the world. In fact, the beginning of the movie, her 2 parents are driving. She's kind of being a brat, right? Hey, who has kids that are brats? She's kind of being a brat. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. They stop at this place. They enter this tunnel. There's food, but no one's there to pay. He's like, I got credit cards. I'll pay for it. It doesn't matter. Let's eat. They eat and eat and eat. She leaves, comes back, and her parents have turned into pigs and get taken away. Her parents turn into pigs because they're overindulgent and they're going to put all of it on a credit card. I don't know if I've said it yet, but I did not need to be slapped in the face this morning by Miyazaki. But let's be honest, maybe all of us need to be slapped in the face a little bit by children's movies, especially ones that were made back in the early 2000s and 90s, because stuff that's being made now isn't good. It's all garbage. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you liked this. It's an odd way to start your morning. I know that after my cup of coffee this morning, I was not ready to deal with this gnarliness. Well, go watch Spirited Away because it'll change you. All right. Happy gaming.